Hello, everyone. As you're coming in, if you want to go ahead and find that chat box, we'd love to hear where you're joining us from. We'll get started in just a moment or two. We've got Long Island, California, more from California, Boston, Minnesota, Wisconsin. There you go. That's where we were supposed to be next week. Virginia, Illinois. And some of you have found that you should have the option to chat with just us, the panelists or hosts, or with attendees as well. And so feel free to choose either. But if you're coming in now, go ahead and find that chat box. Tell us where you're coming from, and we'll start in just a second. Maryland excels. Sacramento. Lots from California today. Good morning out there. All right, go ahead and keep chatting in, but we'll get started. So thank you for joining us. This is Nurturing Educator Resilience in a Time of Crisis. And I'm just gonna go through briefly, go through some housekeeping, and then I'll hand it over to the real expert. And so we will send a recording of this webinar out tomorrow, and so don't feel like you need to take any notes. You won't miss anything. We will also send out a certificate of attendance and any resources that were mentioned in the webinar. So don't feel like you'll miss anything. Most of you, it looks like, have found that chat box, but feel free to use that throughout the webinar if you have any questions or want to share answers to a poll question that maybe the multiple choice doesn't fit your answer. And there will also be a Q&A section that you'll find down at the bottom there. And so if you have any questions that you are hoping to have answered, you can also put your questions in there. All right. So real briefly, those of you who might be newer to TeachStone or TeachStone webinars, we are an education company in Charlottesville, Virginia, and our mission is helping every child reach their full potential by measuring and improving interactions that matter most. And we work with educators in all 50 states and really around the world. This is our colleague, JJ, on a filming trip down in Peru. And what we are known for is being the creators of CLASS. And so CLASS is the classroom assessment scoring system. And really what we're looking for is focusing on and measuring effective teacher-child interactions, because we know that that's what really leads to improved outcomes and impact in the classroom. And we also know that right now, classrooms are not looking their normal way, and that having high quality interactions is probably feeling a lot more challenging than usual. We were just talking before the webinar started, you know, if you're teaching in a remote setting, that's a very different kind of teaching. If you're teaching and need to enforce masks and distancing, that's a new challenge. And so our hope is with these ongoing webinars and resources that we're putting out that we really can support teachers still trying to have high quality interactions, because that's still at the core of great teaching. So real briefly, we'd love to hear a little bit about who's joining us and so who you are. I'm gonna put a poll up. And if you can share with us what your role is, and if it doesn't fit one of these, feel free to put your title, put your role in the chat box. So right now we're at about 40% coaches, mentors, 40% teachers, 10% administrators, and 8% observers, and lots of others. Let's see, I'll give you about 1 more minute. Looks like we're pretty evenly split between teachers, coach and mentor. All right, here, let me share our results so you can see them. We have the most of coach and mentor, but only by a hair. So thank you to all the teachers and coaches and mentors and administrators and really everyone along the breakdown joining us. I think you'll find that really no matter what your role is, this will be helpful content because either you or someone you work with will really need it and benefit from it. I'll stop sharing that. And our expert today. So Christa comes from CARE, Cultivating Awareness and Resilience in Education, co-developer of the program, and is the director of training. And Christa, would you like to take it away, introduce yourself a little more? I'm gonna let you share your screen. Yeah.
Continue, okay. Share screen. Oh, share. Okay, is it on? Yeah, so welcome everybody. I need to take a long, deep breath because it's always a little nerve-wracking to introduce myself and to talk about my program. So my name is Christa Turksma, and I'm really happy to be here and share the CARE program with you. And CARE stands for Cultivating Awareness and Resilience in Education. And throughout our morning, I will introduce some of the practices that teachers have told us are very beneficial. And I actually would like to start with a practice. Because, you know, we come from different areas, and some of you have had a full morning already. For others, like myself, I live on the West Coast. It's just 10 o'clock. But you might be sitting here and trying to listen to me, but your mind might be still with whatever happened. So I would like to invite you to do a breath practice with me. And for this breath practice to be really beneficial, it's really important that we sit in a certain pose. It's alert but relaxed. So I invite you to put your feet flat on the floor so you really feel supported by the earth. Your front is open, your back is straight but not rigid, and I sometimes like to really roll my shoulders so I have space for the air. If you like, you can close your eyes, which I will do, or have a soft gaze downward. And the invitation for you is to put your hands on your abdomen so that when you take your long, deep breath in through your nose, you feel your tummy expand. And then on the exhalation, the fall. So let's take 3 of those deep diaphragmatic breaths. And I invite you to open your eyes if they were closed and check in with your body for a moment. Do you feel a little bit more together, a little bit more synchronized? I hope so. I definitely do, and I needed this. So, in March, our schools closed. And we all had to find new, innovative ways to stay in touch with our students. we thought it was just for a short time, but here we are 6 months later, and many of us are still not back in our classrooms. So I would like to know from you, how is your situation? How are you teaching? Are you teaching face-to-face? Are you doing remote teaching? And here's a poll. And please, the invitation is to let us know, where are you working? Mhm. So Liz, can people see the results?
If I just shared the results, it looks like
Most people, yeah, I can see it, thank you. Most people work from home. There are a couple people face-to-face in an early childhood program. A couple people have hybrid models, and then there are others. So whatever your situation is, your teaching has changed drastically. I must say that learning to teach online has been a steep learning curve for me. Learning how to use Zoom with all the features, putting people in breakout rooms, using chat, sharing screen, all that, it really increased my anxiety because I'm not that tech savvy. For the younger generation of teachers, this might come way easier and they might feel kind of stimulated by it, finding ways to, find creative ways to engaging their students. But whatever your situation is, it is really different from before. And even if you teach face-to-face, with a mask on and social distancing, that's also a challenge. For me, I'm originally from the Netherlands. I have a hard time understanding what people are saying when they talk through a mask. And if we work with younger children, it is really difficult because the young ones, the preschoolers, the kindergartners, they want to be close to us. So it's a really big challenge. What also changed is our classroom. When we teach, we are with our students in our classroom by ourselves. We are king and queens in our classrooms. But now it's wide open. Not only are we in our students' homes, but they also are in our homes. And this might really create some issues of vulnerability, feeling exposed. We also need to create a different relationship with the parents, the caregivers. They need to be kind of co-teachers. So we not only educated children, but also the parents. And this might create, anxiety and stress for the parents.
Christa,
Yeah.
sorry. I'm wondering if we're not seeing what you're seeing, because I know you sent me your slides, and we're seeing.
Sorry, here. There we go. See, I was telling you, technical savvy.
I just want to make sure we see what you want us to see.
You were seeing this all the time.
Okay.
We need to create different relationships with our parents. And then, the core of teaching is creating relationships. And as a former kindergarten teacher, I spent the first week just creating a safe environment where my students felt nurtured and welcomed. And it was very important. By the end of the first day, I knew their names. So I know a lot of thinking went into teaching online. And now you have been teaching for a couple weeks. So Liz, if you would put up the next poll. I would like to know, how are you feeling right now? How is this going? Okay, Liz, would you share the results? So 16% of you feel anxious, 2% excited. Many of you feel concerned, some comfortable, and some all of the above. Thank you. You know, feeling all these feelings, because, in addition to this pandemic that we are living in, there's also social and political unrest and all these fires right now, especially in California and Oregon. For the last 2 weeks, I live in the state of Washington. We have been sequestered at home because of the smoke, and the air quality was so bad that we couldn't go outside. So my heart goes out to everybody in California and Oregon, who deal with these disasters. And then the Midwest had all the flooding, and the East Coast have the hurricanes and those storms. So that we feel stressed, anxious, and worried is a natural reaction. But we also know that when we feel this way, we cannot really think straight. Our thoughts are usually very dark, and they keep going around and around. And sometimes it feels like being a hamster on a wheel. And so we cannot make good decisions, not for ourselves, not for our students. So self-care is critical right now. When I work with teachers, I always emphasize how important it is that they take care of themselves, that is a necessity and not a luxury. And now in this time of pandemic and all the challenges that we're facing, it's even more necessary. So how can we take care of ourselves so we can take care of our students, but also be a support to our colleagues? So one way that can help is mindfulness. And you already did one practice with me, taking those long 3 deep breaths. What mindfulness does when we practice this, it helps us to stay in the present moment, because so much of our time and energy is spent on everything, on ruminating everything that went wrong yesterday and all the things we still have to do for tomorrow. And we are not here, not present in the present moment. So when we practice mindfulness, we also become aware of, the thoughts. And thoughts are like emotions. They come and go all day long. We become more aware, attuned to our physical symptoms. That when we feel, say for instance, you feel nervous, like I did this morning. Well, as a little second grader told me one time when we were teaching a lesson about nervous and anxious, she says, "Mrs. T, have you ever felt like ants are crawling in your stomach?" Now, isn't that a beautiful description? So when I notice this, then I can also notice the thoughts that usually feed those uncomfortable feelings. And that is when we can take that long, deep breath. And we can create that space, a pause. And now I can take a step back. Okay, I am nervous. What can I do about it? Taking that long, deep breath. And the power of the breath. It's a tool we have always with us. We just have to remember to use it. So here are the 3 deep breaths, but I did it in the beginning. So what is care and why did we develop care? So as I said, CARE, it stands for Cultivating Awareness and Resilience in Education. And it was developed by myself, Tish Jennings, and Richard Brown. And all of us are long-time educators. As I said before, I started out as a kindergarten teacher. Then I went back, got my degree in psychology because I was really interested in children with emotional and behavioral problems and ways to help them. And over the last, I would say, 40 years, I have worked with teachers all over the world. And I became more and more concerned about the well-being of teachers. Because for me, the teacher in the classroom is the most important person. If he or she is not feeling well, not doing well, then nothing in that classroom runs well. The same is true for administrators and principals, because their main job, what they would like to do, is to create nurturing environments where everybody feels welcome. So the 3 of us, with support from the Garrison Institute, we decided we wanted to create a professional development program that really supports educators in the important work they do. Because teaching is one of the most rewarding professions, but it can also be very, very stressful. There's so much on the teacher's plate that it's really necessary that we take care of our educators. So in CARE, we do that by mindfulness practices, like taking that long, deep breaths. But we also want to cultivate a deeper understanding of our own emotional life. How am I feeling? Why am I feeling that way? What are the physical sensations? What are my thoughts going along with it? What are my strengths? What are areas that I can grow in? But we also want to cultivate kindness and compassion, because educators are really great in giving support and compassion to their students, but they can be very hard on themselves. So we want to create more kindness and compassion for yourself. And then we want to introduce a different way of listening, what I call with our heart instead of with our head. So one of the other core practices that we introduce in CARE is the power of setting a daily intention. So if I could ask all of you right now, what kind of teacher, educator, administrator, parent, friend would you like to be? And I'm sure that many of you would say, I would like to be kind and caring and patient and compassionate and, instilling a love of learning in my students. But when we face so many challenges, it's sometimes hard to see ourselves as a kind, caring person. So setting a daily intention, reflecting for a moment, how do I want to be today? What needs my attention? Is a very helpful way to stay in alignment with the vision we have as kind, caring people. So I invite you to close your eyes for a moment and just think about today. Think about the people you're going to meet, or if you're at home and you open your door and there are your own children or other family members. What would be an intention that keeps you more in alignment with your vision of a kind, caring person? And if you have found that intention, it helps to say it out loud. My intention is to be kind and forgiving for myself. So what is yours? It helps to write it down and put it somewhere where you can see it throughout the day. Or have an intention buddy, who can remind you of your daily intention. If you like, put your intention in the chat box, if you'd like to share. So I want to talk a little bit about the importance of emotions. Teaching is a very emotional job. You deal with emotions all day long, your own and those of others. So it's very helpful that we really cultivate a deeper understanding of our own emotions. The more we understand about our own emotions, the better we can manage them. And we can use them to enrich our teaching. Because, emotions are part of our biological makeup. They are necessary for our survival, to pay attention to, especially the uncomfortable ones. But we also need the comfortable ones. Because if we only focus on the uncomfortable emotions, everything in us constricts because all the attention goes to the survival mode. But if we feel joy or excitement, then we open up and now we can think about solutions to problems. It's the way we communicate. So it helps if we have a really extensive vocabulary of our emotions so that I can really articulate, oh, I'm feeling disappointed, instead of saying frustrated. So it helps to have many words for our different emotions. Emotions are really signals. They tell us if something feels comfortable or uncomfortable. They tell us how strong, how intense we feel that emotion, and also how strong is the physical arousal. And we learn, when we cultivate our own emotional knowledge, that of course this is individual. It depends on our own personality. It depends on the family or the culture we grew up in. And although we can all feel this whole range of emotions, it doesn't mean that we all express it in the same way or experience it in the same way. But we, at the end of a stressful day, when we have really paid attention, and we like to use the metaphor of an elevator, emotions come and go all day long. And the more we're aware, the better we can keep the elevator at a manageable level. But sometimes we are too busy and the elevator gets to the highest floor, and then we go home and we get into a fight with somebody about nothing because we have nothing to give anymore. So watching that elevator is really important because our emotions leave a physical residue. And that can show up in tension headaches, upset stomachs, laying in bed, ruminating, which is not very good for our emotional and physical health. So at the end of a stressful day, it's really important to check in with your body. And I invite you to do this practice with me. So again, the invitation is to sit in a mindful pose, feet flat on the floor, your front open, the back is straight, your eyes can be closed or having a soft gaze downward, and your hands can be resting in your lap. And let's take one deep breath. And now I'd like to invite you to bring your attention to the top of your head and going down to your forehead, around your eyes, your jaws, checking out your whole face. What do you notice? And then we move down to our throat, just noticing whatever sensation is in your throat. And then to your chest area, and further down to your abdomen, checking out the whole front. What do you notice? And I invite you to bring your attention to the top of your head and go along the back of your head to your neck and shoulders, and then down your arms to your elbow, to your wrist, and then your fingers, and feeling both arms. What do you notice? And now we bring our attention back to the top of our shoulders and going down our spine to the middle of our back and further down, and feeling ourselves sitting in the chair, checking out the whole length of our back. What do you notice there? And now I invite you to bring your attention to both legs, starting at the hip, going down to the knees, from the knees down to the ankles and the feet, checking out your legs. What do you notice? And now, having checked our whole body in this way, I invite you to bring your attention to that place in your body where you felt tension. Maybe it's in your abdomen, maybe your face or neck and shoulders. And if you have found that spot, the invitation is to pay attention with kindness and curiosity. This feeling in your body is part of you. What does that feel like? Maybe look like, maybe there's a sound attached to it or a word. Just be very, very curious. What does this feeling of tension feel like in your body? Be exploring this with kindness and curiosity. We want to get to know that feeling, so when it happens, we recognize it. What does this feel like, look like, sound like? So paying attention in this kind, caring way, do you notice any change? Is there maybe a little lighter, a little less tense? Again, the invitation is to just be with it in a kind and caring way. Now I'd like to invite you to bring your breath to this area if you're still holding tension, and see if you can name it on the in-breath and letting go on the out-breath. Breathing in, it feels hard, tense, solid, whatever word fits for you. And on the out-breath, we're letting it go. Breathing in and letting go. And now I invite you to open your eyes if they were closed. And maybe, if you like, share in the chat box Where in your body did you feel this feeling of tension? And Liz, I cannot see the chat box right now, but maybe, oh, wait a minute. Yeah. I can see it, yeah. Neck, in my neck and shoulders, in my stomach, shoulders, felt it on my head, my face, my neck, yeah. Jaw and shoulders. Shoulders for sure. I'm also curious, would you mind putting in the chat box, when you were paying attention in this kind, caring way, did you feel a change? Yes. Yes, somebody is sleepy now. Felt lighter, feel relaxed. Wonderful. More come from my thoughts. Thank you. So doing the body scan at the end of a stressful day, or when you wake up in the middle of the night, ruminating, this might be a good practice to just see, where am I holding any tension? And teachers have told me that this is a really great practice. And most of the time they fall asleep, which actually is wonderful. So I also want to touch on kindness and compassion. It's really important that we create for ourselves an atmosphere of being kind to ourselves and be compassionate. We have it for our students, but it's as important to have it for ourselves. And when we do this with the teachers, we have them reflect on the time when they had a hard time and they were talking to a friend, and then reflect on what were the words that this friend used that made them feel really listened to and valued and understood. And then the invitation is that when you have a hard time, talk to yourself as a friend. And to give you an example, when I was doing my first webinar, and I had just learned to do all the gadgets and putting people in breakout rooms, making breakout rooms, I had 21 participants and I made 20 breakout rooms. So everybody besides 2 was sitting by themselves in a room. Now, luckily, I only made it for 2 minutes, but that was a long time for me. Later that day, a friend of mine called and said, "How did it go?" And all I could do was talking about this stupid mistake I had made. She laughed and she said to me, "Christa, that's actually kind of funny. And you know, your participants will understand and they will forgive you." And that was a word for me, forgiveness. Because the essence is, can I forgive myself? So can you reflect for a moment on the time that you were talking to a good friend, and what word captures that you really felt listened to, valued, understood? And I would like to open the chat box again. If you would not mind sharing, what was the word that captured for you? Connecting. I'm here for you. Blessed. Excellent. Love. This is hard. I was doing a great job. I feel your pain. Accepting eyes, prayer, just being listened to, someone cared. Isn't that so important? Just being listened to and someone cared. Yeah. Yes. So let's all remember the words that our friends said to us, so that when we have a hard time and you hear all the negative self-talk, you can stop and talk to yourself as a friend. What I forgot to mention is that when we are kind to others, that really gives a boost to our own resilience. And there are very small things we can do to be kind to others. We can, when we walk outside, wave to our neighbors or somebody we meet. We can check in with an elderly neighbor. We can send a card, or we can have a phone call with somebody we know is going through a tough time or is living all by themselves. And I know you can come up with many, many more ways to be kind to others. But what I would like to emphasize is especially be kind to yourself. And another way to really boost our resilience is to be grateful. You know, there are, even in this difficult time, so many things we can be grateful for. Right now, I am so grateful for fresh air. After being, sequestered for 2 weeks inside because the air quality was so bad. I'm grateful that I live in a wonderful environment with caring neighbors, that I feel safe and protected in my home. But people find sometimes helpful is at the end of the day to write down about 3 things that they are grateful for, or what people at home, and this also we can do this at school, started a gratitude jar. So whenever you notice something you're grateful for, you write it down, you put it in the gratitude jar, and then at certain times during the day in your classroom, you can pick out or have your student pick out one of them and read what they're grateful for. Or in your family, you can do it at dinner time. Here are some more ideas. Because when we cultivate gratitude, we focus on what went well. We can have a journal, we can write a letter, or we can think about those people we are really grateful for. So I would like to end this morning with the caring practice. And this is a practice we wish ourselves well-being, happiness, and peace. But then also we want to extend that to others in our lives, especially to people who we find troublesome. It really helps for us to keep our hearts and our mind open. And we can remember that the people who are troublesome for us have the same wishes for well-being and health and safe and protection as we do. If we can keep in mind our common humanity, then we can extend wishes of well-being even to the troublesome people. So I invite you again to sit in our mindful pose, feet flat on the floor, your front open, your back is straight, but not rigid. Your eyes can be closed or having a soft gaze downward, Your hands are in your lap. And let's start again with a long, deep breath. And now the invitation is to bring your attention to yourself. And I'm going to use the phrases, may I be safe and protected. May I be well. May I stay loving and kind to myself and others in this difficult time. But if this doesn't really fit well with your own beliefs, the invitation is to use different words. May I be safe and protected. May I be well. May I stay loving and kind to myself and others in this difficult time. And I really would like to invite you to let that really sink in. Being grateful for all the hard work you do. May I be safe and protected. May I be well. May I stay loving and kind to myself and others. And now we're going to set ourselves aside. And I invite you to think about someone who's really dear to you. And I hope you have many people in your life. But see if you can pick the one person. And imagine that person in front of you. May you be safe and protected. May you be well. May you stay loving and kind to yourself and others. And let it really flow from your heart to this person you care about. May you be safe and protected. May you be well. May you stay loving and kind to yourself and others. May you be safe and protected. May you be well. May you stay loving and kind to yourself and others. Now we're going to put this person aside. And the invitation is to think about a person that you don't know too well. Your feelings are kind of neutral. It might be the postman or woman. It might be a clerk in a store. It could be a new colleague. And see if you can imagine that person in front of you. May you be safe and protected. May you be well. May you stay loving and kind to yourself and others. May you be safe and protected. May you be well. May you stay loving and kind to yourself and others. And again, the invitation is to let this flow from your heart to this person who, like you, would like to be safe and protected, would like to feel well, and the wish is that they also stay loving and kind to themselves and others. So now we're going to put this person aside, and I invite you to think about somebody who's a little annoying. I really would like you to pick somebody that is a little irritant, not somebody where you have very, very strong feelings about, something that is manageable. Because this is a new practice. So let's pick a person who is not too troublesome. And I hope you don't have many people in your life, but see if you can just pick this one person and then extend these wishes to this person. May you be safe and protected. May you be well. May you stay loving and kind to yourself and others. May you be safe and protected. May you be well. May you stay loving and kind to yourself and others. Well, maybe you notice right now, my feelings towards this person is much stronger than I anticipated. And you're struggling a little bit. Then the invitation is to bring your attention back to yourself. Take a long, deep breath. Maybe remind yourself that this is another human being, and maybe he or she needs your attention the most. And then see if you can go back. May you be safe and protected. May you be well. May you stay loving and kind to yourself and others. And now we're going to set this person aside. And I invite you to think of all the people you're going to meet today. Your students, your colleagues, your own family, your own children. And maybe we can extend it to all of us who are struggling right now. May you all be safe and protected. May you all be well. May you all stay loving and kind to yourself and others. May you all be safe and protected. May you all be well. May you all stay loving and kind to yourself and others. May you all be safe and protected. May you all be well. May you all stay loving and kind to yourself and others. And now I'd like to invite you to bring your attention back to yourself. Giving some thanks to yourself, knowing how hard you work, knowing that you struggle, acknowledging that sometimes things are really hard. And then tell yourself again, may I be safe and protected. May I be well. May I stay loving and kind to myself and others. And let's take one more long, deep breath. And open your eyes if they were closed. I'd like to thank you all for the time spent together. And I hope that these practices are a welcome addition in your toolbox. And Liz will send you a link to our website. And on the website, you have access to some of these mindfulness practices. So thank you. And I hand it over to Liz.
Thank you, Christa. That was amazing. I feel like I'm somewhere between very relaxed and ready for a nap. I see everyone sharing their thanks in the chat. I think everyone's feeling very similarly that they maybe needed that today. Maybe needed that every day. My slide I have here is a really nice transition because my role here at my role here at Teachstone is I'm the program manager for many of our events, but also for our class learning community. And the thing that blows me away about the community is that willingness for people to reach out and support each other that they don't know. I was thinking about that in that last sort of meditation of just how much better it can feel to you and to others to support each other. And so I'm excited to be able to share our class learning community, and it is free and open to anyone who would like to join. I'll include a link in that email tomorrow if you're not already part of it. But if you are looking for other ideas of how to support each other or have ideas, it's a wonderful place to find them. And you can always learn about new upcoming events like this one there. Just share a couple other things. If one of the things you feel like you're struggling with right now is what do effective interactions really look like in a socially distanced or physically distanced classroom or in a virtual classroom, I want to direct you to our website. We have a lot of really helpful printable PDFs that you can download, you can share, that have sort of what an interaction might have looked like in a traditional setting and what it can look like now in sort of one of our new settings. So you can find those on our website. They're wonderful for teachers, coaches, observers, really you name it. And there's a couple of trainings and solutions that we have out that might be helpful as well. We have one specifically on supporting interactions in a distance or virtual classroom. It's a half-day online training for teachers. So if you are feeling like you really need self-care, but also strategies, you might find those helpful. And there's a whole series of webinars that I highly recommend. They're a free set of webinars we did over the summer, all about trauma-informed care. I think many of you, as we come back, are realizing these students that have been home since March are struggling with a lot of things. And we brought in some wonderful experts in the field to talk about some strategies. In addition to the free webinars, we have an online course where those same subject matter experts really dive into 6 whole modules of really intensive supports. Just sharing lots of resources we have on our website. All of these will be on that landing page that we'll email out tomorrow. Let's see, I see one question mentioned in the slide deck. Virtual coaching slides be included in the class coaching. Yeah, so all of those links will be in the email that's sent out tomorrow. They can also just be found right on the website. If you go to resources, there's a drop down that says coronavirus resources, and there's lots of free stuff there. Thank you so much, Christa. This was lovely. What a wonderful way to spend the afternoon. And I hope people feel like they really have some strategies to bring back to their own classroom or their own lives.
Liz, if we have one moment,
Sure.
I would like to remind all of you about your intention. Remember, we said an intention at the beginning of our time together. So now you're going to open your door. You're going to be with other people. So just take a moment to reflect. Do you want to stay with that same intention? Do you want to change it a little bit? And then say it again to yourself. So it's really clear in your own minds.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you, everyone. And I'm sure we'll see you in future events. Thank you again, Christa.
Okay, thank you, everybody.